I'm calling this meeting to order. It is 4:06 p.m. on May the 4th. The League of Women Voters, Corpus Christi area, is a nonpartisan grassroots civic organization that encourages informed and active participation in government, works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. Just FYI, as we're getting started, and I think this is really important. I've gotten several emails, and this has to do with being a league member and what leagues are. And so this is coming down not only from LWVUS, but also from LWVTX. And that is that the league has been having a lot of exposure, and there have been a lot of organizations that are trying to misrepresent what the league is, what it's about, what it does. And so I think it's really important for us to realize that, and to make sure that when we are out in public that we are speaking for ourselves, unless we are speaking for the league, and that in this case is me. So I just want for the time being. So it's really important. There also, it's getting very, very intimidating, and so there's some information that I'm going to send you that you will find helpful. It's lengthy, but again, I think this is really, really important because this is what is coming down, and so keep your eyes posted for that. Go ahead. Go ahead, Liz, and let's do a roll call and establish a quorum.
Okay. Catherine?
Present.
Anel? Present. Sylvia?
Here.
Debbie?
Hello.
Tim?
Here.
Alice? She's here. Julie?
Here, I think Alice was unmuting.
Yeah. Okay. We have a quorum with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have a quorum with 8 board members present, and the only one absent is Eli.
Okay. So we do have a quorum has been established.
Yeah.
So we can move on to the approval of minutes. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing or hearing none, is there a move to accept and approve the minutes?
I
Julie
move, even though I
Rogers.
wasn't there, I can make a motion.
I second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes as presented. All those in favor, please wave.
Aye.
Okay. All right. It has been moved and seconded and has passed, and so these will go down in our records of the approval of minutes from the that would have been the April board meeting. Treasurer's report, Anel. You need to unmute.
I'm on with Alice, so
Okay.
Ooh, try again. Try now, Alice. Oh, turn your volume up.
I can hear and see Alice just fine.
Say something, Alice.
No.
Yeah,
not hearing.
we can just barely hear you. If there's some way you can turn your volume up. Huh? Alice, say something. Do you know how to turn your volume up, Alice? You're still very low. Can y'all hear her? Is it just me? No,
Not at all.
there's a line across the top. You may see a couple of little speaker keys. Try that.
I see Alice on two screens, one just her name and one with Alice.
Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing, Tim. She's got two screens.
She's
Well, you've
probably
got
trying
two
to get on
screens up.
one or the other. Yeah.
She's only on once. Oh, there she is.
Okay.
Oh, we can hear you better now. Can y'all hear? No.
No.
You're on twice, Alice. Why don't you try logging off and logging back in? Hmm? Okay. Now we've got Sylvia Campos twice.
Yeah, Sylvia's gone.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'll make my report here in just a mo. Let's see what we can do with Alice. Okay, and she's going to try and get back in.
Okay. Sylvia,
There, muted, whatever that was.
okay. I don't know what that is.
I don't know, but you've got feedback, Alice. Okay. Let me find. Sounds like Friday the 13th. Well, why don't I start while Alice tries to get herself set up here? Did everybody get my statement, which actually went out a couple of days in advance this time? Sandy Sturba Boatwright came over and sat with me and we went through it together. Are there any questions about the statement? As I told you all in emails, I had to go back to the very beginning of the year. So several of the actual year-to-date figures may look slightly different than they did. Debbie, I'm going to try and post them all to the download them to Google Docs. Is that where we're still putting things?
Yep, there's a Google Doc folder for treasurer statements.
Okay,
Just
I
put them
will
in there and then
try
they'll
to
be in
put
the archives automatically.
all the new and revised statements there. The other part, Catherine, are you ready for me to do the budget? Or is that later?
That's, no, go ahead.
Okay. There were just several things about the budget that we changed per Sandy's request, since she is the nominee. I went with her request to put the credit card fees down in expenses. And we have, I had several that were, there's still another one. I've got 2022, 2023 special events, so I'm going to have to change that. I tried to make everything change and didn't quite get it done. So expect one more copy of the 20 of the proposed budget. This one I'm looking at, I must not have printed out the right one. But I'll see if I didn't get that changed, because I sent one that said LWVCCA instead of LWVCC. Have you got that copy, Catherine?
I have I have both of them, LWVCCA. And I've
Okay,
got that.
if you'll look down at special events under income, does that say 2022, 23? I thought I had fixed them all, but it doesn't look like I got that one.
Special events as proposed at 380.
Yeah,
Is what I'm
but
looking
does
at.
it say 2022, 2023 special events?
It says 2022, 2023. Yeah.
Okay, then I will correct that as soon as we're done and send it out to everybody.
Okay.
Okay, apologies.
Okay.
Okay, but then I think it's done. So barring that, does anyone have any questions, additions, or concerns about the budget? If
You
we
might
can,
again just briefly say that this is a budget June 1 through May 31st.
yes, we did, our prior fiscal year was May 1 through April 31. And with the approval of Elaine at state, I had asked why that was, and Chris had told me that it was because when the year ends on May 31 and the annual meeting is usually towards the end of May, you can't provide a full and correct year-end financial statement. And so I called and I spoke to Elaine Wyatt, who is the state treasurer, and she said yes. She said everybody who's on the state fiscal year has that same issue, and they just present the year as it stands then. So I don't know why that is, but it seems to be okay. So that's the way the state does it, and that's the way all the other leagues do it. So we have approval to go ahead and change that our fiscal year to June 1 through May 31, and then we are in line with the state and the US offices. Does that make sense to everybody? So, okay.
Just double check, Anel, if you would, on these two documents that you sent out this afternoon, and because the latest one, I guess, is the one that looks like this.
Hold on. Let me pull it down here. No. Did I send that out?
You sent it to me.
Shit.
And you sent this one to me.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make this correction right now, and then I'll
Okay.
the one that I'm about to send you should be 2023, 2024. Disregard anything else. That one with the highlighting means nothing. That was our setup to kind of look at what we had as the 2022-23, what our actual year to date had been on that, and assisted us in creating the 2023-24. Does that make sense?
Okay, well, just tell me, so the bottom line, it should be still is 20,925.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
All right.
The reason that this is so important, as you all probably realize, that we're supposed to get this out a month in advance, and so we need to get this out ASAP. And so now thank you for continuing to work on this, and we will get that out tonight, that copy to
Okay.
membership. And that's really really important to be able to share that with them. And of course, we know that there will be questions that come up, I'm sure, at the annual meeting, but we need to just make sure all of us are on the same page as we go in. So thank you for that. Anil, I know it's very tedious and with going through with the, changing, what that fiscal year is. I know that was, took a lot of effort on your part. So I thank you for
Well,
that.
and there was a budget committee. Unfortunately, I kind of usurped them on a few occasions just towards the end here when I was making changes, but that's all. The rest of it was all done with the
Okay. All right. Are there any questions for Anil at this point?
I just have a quick question on the month before. Are you talking about we should have sent it to the membership a month before, like the program? Okay, not the month. I didn't know if it was that or the fiscal year that you were referring to. So are we going to put a little note, or do we have to acknowledge anything, or
We'll just say, that
that
we
we
were,
were busy changing to the June 1st? I like some explanation or anything.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's a good question. Thanks for asking that, Julie.
It just seems to me, they understand that we were communicating with the state and trying to get in line with the state and national to get our budget, our fiscal years lined up. And that's why they're getting it now as opposed to, or that's why they're getting it a little late. That's just my suggestion.
Mhm. Well, my goal is that we're going to get that information out to them tonight. Any other questions about this? All right. If not, moving on, quickly going through, I think, our Vice President and Director reports. Julie, I'm going to start with you.
All right. We're working, can you hear me now? Yeah. We're working on the legislative session. Tim's been working really hard. We had the meetup at the Calypso, and we had 25 people there, which I thought was tremendous. And I did get reports that our electeds received the postcards. And since then, I know a lot of members have been calling them. So that's very, very good. We have one second Saturday left. That's May 13th, which we really need to stick to because the session, it's coming to an end here. Well, we have 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So and now that might be a good opportunity if you're available for us to transition into me doing more. And that's really all I have to report. I think second Saturday coming up. Debbie put up some great photos from Calypso. Thank you so much. Y'all spread that. Keep sharing your Facebook posts. It really is a good way to get the word out. And Tim, will you be able to join second Saturday? Legislative discussions going on, and Sally.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right. And Debbie, I know you're busy today.
Yeah, I gotta run.
And probably this weekend, but I'll send you a little thing. We can get you take care.
Yeah, send me what you need. And now just make sure you send me whatever documents, because we have them not just in that folder, but on the homepage underneath the little blurb about the annual meeting. So some of those documents are correct. And then apparently we want to change a couple of them. So just let me know which ones I need to change and I can take care of that. And as you know, we can do that at 2 a.m.
True. I'd also just like to say, Julie, on our behalf, that LWV Texas is encouraging us to do letters to the editor, as we're, getting close to the end of this session. And so I will share that information with you. I'll send that out to you. And I think, again, that was just recently coming. And so I will get that to you so that, in terms of action, these are things that people can do.
Okay.
And we can turn that into an action.
Is there any way
to an action event on the website too? Because there's a whole place where you can have action alerts, and we can turn that into one. So once I get it from you, I'll cut and paste it in.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you. Tim and Catherine, something to think about or discuss right now. Is there any way that we could not just do a letter to the editor, but an op-ed?
We can put it out there. I mean, that was one of the suggestions too. But most of you probably know more than I what are the chances of getting that published.
I think Tim maybe could swing it.
Okay.
Well, maybe, but that'd be iffy. That'd be iffy. We can try.
Okay. Well, let me find that information again, and I'll send it to the two of you, and then you can, if any of the rest of you are interested, then just share it. Go to Tim and to Julie. I see your hand up, Alice.
Yes, I have a couple of questions. Uh-oh. I have a couple of questions. Number one, this is to Julie. Julie, on the second Saturday, are we going to be still contacting and calling our representatives like we did at the Cafe Calypso?
Well, we come up with ideas collectively on what to do. I was hoping maybe while we had everybody on, if we can get people to join second Saturday, we should just pick up our phones then, like we did
Yes.
at Calypso. But so what we have been doing is, since it's not a business meeting, it's been informal, and we've kind of been deciding together, but I think it's a good idea. And so
Well,
yeah.
I think it empowers people to be collective in one place and, actually doing this.
Mhm.
That's very encouraging when you have somebody sitting next to you, making a phone call, and, you are there also doing yours. So I hope that we can do that. I think it's also impactful that they get this barrage of phone calls and asking them to consider certain legislation and how we feel about it. I think that's important too. So I hope so. I enjoyed that Cafe Calypso thing extremely well. That was
I
very,
agree.
I
But
love
when
that.
Yes, Alice, me too. When I floated the room, it just genuinely, people were sat at different tables that didn't necessarily know each other. And so we had some veteran phone callers. Like Peggy was at a table, and she was kind of coaching people or modeled for people. I saw someone else doing it. And so that was just beautiful how it worked out. But, right now, I think we can only do it on second Saturday. We can either plan something or do it right then. I don't know if we could pull off another gathering people, but it's going to get hairy the last
Yeah.
2 weeks, and we're going into a special session. So,
Yeah.
what we need to do on second Saturday is vet out for us what we're going to focus on. And I think the state league's given us, the direction, and we've been taking it. The Calypso, I put a list of what all our action alerts, but now that it comes down to it, it's pretty clear that voting rights are under assault. And that's really what I believe we should be focusing on. But as I said, we need to make that decision collectively at second Saturday, and then kind of hammer down the next few. Now, I forgot to tell y'all too, and I think we discussed it at second Saturday. Catherine and Tim, with Tim's help, sent a letter to the city council and the mayor, thanking them for standing up against that 2147 and letting them know what we were too. And then she sent letters to our 4 representatives in the Senate and House. So that was really, really good. Thank you, Catherine. But that's an example of how we're at this point in the game. We know where things are headed, and we just have to hone in on, probably the voting.
Okay, I had one other question, and I think Tim kind of answered it. The letters to the editor, how impactful is that? Since we really don't have a local newspaper anymore. This business of being owned by whoever Scripps or whoever bought us out, it has just diluted us as a local newspaper. There's not much meaning. And so I'm wondering how impactful, even if we got a letter to the editor, and are people I don't take a hard copy anymore. Are people really writing letters to the editor anymore like we used to? Okay.
Yeah, here's
Are
the
we
problem,
getting them
Alice.
printed?
Yeah, it goes in the hard copy, but they don't get, they're not on the digital, the app.
Right,
The
right.
op-eds are on the app, which is why I think it's good to do an op-ed, but the
Okay.
letters to editor, I get the hard copy and those show up. And usually, and Sally and I have both had several letters printed because I don't think very many people write letters to the editor. But
Well,
one thing I can tell you is that you wish it was for the public, but right at this point in the game, it's the legislators, staffers that are probably reading the letters to the editor, and they'll report it. So that makes a difference. At least they would hear it. But I see Liz has her hand up as well.
So before Liz speaks, I just want to say, I guess all of this is just small steps. If those, the people that are running the offices up there are passing it on, and, it's a small step, but it's an important step. So
yeah, they're
that
going to
answers my
tally up.
question.
They'll tally up and they'll say, we're getting, and they do watch the Coastal Bend because our people are seniors, they've been up there a long time, so they matter. Our representatives make a big difference. And so they'll tally up like this many people from Corpus called on this many. And then, with Catherine's letter, and she got it okay from the state, we got a letter from the president of the League of Women Voters against or for, so it makes a huge difference. It's, to me, what you said is right, but it's more like, it seems small, but it's rather large.
Okay.
Because if they hear from Corpus Christi, like over 25 people, that's a big deal. In the way we probably all think as activists, it makes me kind of sad. I'm like, that's not very many, but in their world, it makes a difference, and we just have to keep cultivating it. But that was good questions. Did you have any more before I let Catherine facilitate? You're muted.
Alice.
Can I interject?
No, I'm done. Those were the questions I had for your report. So let Elizabeth speak. I'm done. Thank you.
Real quickly, because I know we need to move on. The letters to the editor of the Collier Times, because I get both the hard copy thrown to the house, and I also have the digital copy that I have every single day. The letters to the editors are only printed on Sunday. It doesn't matter hard or digital, they're only printed on Sunday. And the same thing with the opinion piece. They're only printed on Sunday. So that's something you have to, but that's their biggest readership is on Sunday. So anyway, I've said my bit.
Tim?
I just wanted to add that you can see the letters to the editor, even if you only have a digital subscription. You just need to click on the e-newspaper at the top, and then it'll give you what looks like a physical newspaper. And that's what I do all the time, and that's where they're at. So.
Thanks for sharing that, Tim. I appreciate that. All right. Anything else, Julie? Okay, thank you. Appreciate always your input and what you're doing and your leadership. Voter Services is not here.
Okay.
Eli isn't, but who is?
I do have her report. Should we read it
Good.
into record?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. This is Eli's membership report. No, wait a minute, hang on a second. I'm sorry, not membership, Voter Services, I'm sorry. On April 22nd, they had Earth Day and they registered 10 people. On April 26th, they went to Ray High School and registered 74 students for voter registration. And on the 28th of April, they went to Richard Milbourne Academy and registered 12 students. So that's over 100. Was that over 100 kids? That's over 100 people. That's wonderful. She said she's working with Alex. I don't know who Alex is, but anyway, on the transition as well as planning for future events. Respectfully, Eli. So we've got that into record.
Alex is a candidate for Voter Services.
Okay, I'll look it up. Yeah, okay.
Alex Fluke.
Yeah. All right, thank you for bringing that to
Yeah.
our attention, Liz, and sharing that with us. Okay, Tim, you're next.
I really don't have anything to report on the hard media stuff. I haven't really had the need to be in contact with them lately. I just wanted to pass on a couple things about some specific bills that I think are of interest. The bill that takes away a lot of power from the state government, that's HB 2127. The mayor's all over that. That got passed by the House. It's over in the Senate, and it's in not the Elections Committee, I think Business and Commerce, oddly enough. And don't know what the status of that one is. I talked to Senator Hinojosa's office, and they're going to be looking into that. But that's probably the most dangerous bill. There are many candidates, but that may be the most dangerous bill. That takes a lot of power away from Sylvia and her colleagues. So that's really pretty awful bill. The current most timely one, if you want to have some input, is probably to contact the House about SB 1039. That got passed in the Senate, moved over to the House, and that's the one that says that if you're 2%, I forget exactly what the tripwire was, but if you have 2% of the places that don't have enough paper ballots, that that can cause an audit and they've got a lot of expense. And it looks like it would be a way for the Texas Secretary of State to take over local elections for 2 federal election cycles. So that's a pretty dramatic bill. When I talked to Kara Sands, I guess about a month ago, she thought that the countywide voting ban was not going to get any traction. And so I kind of took that one off my radar. But I was on a call a couple of days ago with the Texas Election Reform Coalition folks. There apparently is some thought that that may not be correct. And this is a little bit off topic of elections, but I think some folks here are probably interested in it. The bill to raise the age to purchase an assault rifle to 21, which is HB 2744. That's been stuck in committee. They had a hearing on it. Apparently it got pretty emotional. Uvalde parents came. One parent even showed up with his students, his deceased students' notebook with a bullet hole through it. And that's been stuck in Representative Guillen's. He's the chairman of that committee since April 19th. They had a hearing, but he's not scheduled to vote. So if any of you are concerned about that bill, I want to call him and say, please schedule a hearing on it. I did get a communication from somebody who's pretty plugged into what's going on that bill, and they think that there might be some Republican members on that committee who will vote for this bill. So the real bottleneck right now is Representative Guillen. You may remember he was a guy on the redistricting committee back in 2021. He was a Democrat at the time. He switched parties and got reelected as a Republican. But everything I've heard about him is very positive, so maybe he's persuaded.
Spell
Thank you,
his
Tim.
name, Tim.
Guillen. First name is Ryan, Ryan. So if that's a bill of his concern to you, I would say action item would be to call his office. I've called them 3 of the 4 days this week and saying, why isn't it out of committee? They could never give me an answer.
Thank you very much, Tim. Appreciate your work. Alice, you have a question?
Yes, I just, I wanted to make sure about the bill that Tim was referencing on that deadline, SB 1039. The caveat to that, isn't there a caveat to that if we are out of paper ballots for X number of days or hours or something like that, then this kicks in? What was the number on that? Do you remember?
I believe it was
2 hours.
2%, and I thought it was 1 hour. It's real short, but it
Okay.
doesn't do anything like, okay, you figured out that's 5,000 voters, and the target of this is Harris County. So if you said
Yeah.
that, there were 5,000 people who could not vote, okay, you would think they'd say, okay, what was the closest election in Harris County? There's a lot of stuff on the ballot. So if the closest election was 10,000, it won't matter. So you would think, okay, we won't do it. Or you would say, okay, there were 30 things on the ballot, and there was one where there was decided by less than 5,000 votes. Okay, let's vote on that one. But no, that's not the way it reads. You redo the whole election. So it looks like that they just are hoping that if they didn't like the results the first time, they're hoping on a second time, probably like in runoffs locally, you'll have less people vote.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I remember there was that time limit, but I wasn't sure. So this is not a very good bill. It'll cost us money if it goes into effect and somebody pulls the trigger on it. It's expensive, and like you say, it's designed to try to change the results in the event that they don't like what they get. So,
I
all right,
think
thank you.
Sally had a real
Yeah.
good analysis of this bill, so check your email for email. You sent that this morning, I think, right, Sally? Okay.
Okay. Sally, I think Tim had a question for you.
Sally, I was just asking, you sent a very helpful analysis of comments on SB 1039. You sent that this morning, right?
Unmute. Okay.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Sally.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Sorry about that. All right. We really need to move on. Okay, go ahead, Sally.
Oh, yeah. I sent just about everybody here a note on that that draconian opportunity for the Secretary of State to take over local elections. I read the bill and I read the analysis, and I sent everybody a copy of the analysis. But the thing that struck me when I read the analysis and what the League of Women Voters Texas had to say was that, my gosh, how in the world is any county going to be able to conduct an election and stay within the limits of the law without having an elections lawyer advising them how to operate? It's really a disturbing move to the governor's appoint the Secretary of State control over local elections.
Thank you, Sally. I appreciate that, your comments on that. Be sure and look at your email if you haven't seen that email that went out this morning, I believe, and check to make sure you understand what Sally is talking about. And I think it was a good description, Sally. Thank you. Okay, moving along to membership. Sylvia.
Well, ahoy, everyone. It's Buccaneer Days. I just got back from the mayor's Treat Duncan event, so I rushed back over here. So thank you. My apologies for being late. I did not thank the volunteers that made phone calls for the April meeting. I believe the 25 people, hopefully, that showed up was a result of the committee, the volunteers making those calls. So I did not put it in the report. I don't know how to stop this echoing, but I just want to make sure that I maybe amend and acknowledge our volunteers. Can y'all hear me?
I'm having trouble understanding the
Try
feedback, Sylvia.
try everyone mute who's not Sylvia, because it may be coming from somebody else.
Okay. Oh, all right. I think so. Okay, so I want to make sure to include the 6 or 5 people that did help out, which are Sandy Sturba, Boatwright, Jerry Tippin, Nick Jimenez, Lisa Hernandez, and Christy Stockman, and of course myself. But you know, it does take an effort to make those calls, and I think it's worth it. So just wanted to make sure that we acknowledge the volunteers that did that. I'm also I'm looking at the report, what is going to be happening at the end of this month, which we're going to lose a lot of members if they don't re-enroll. So I don't know what else. I mean, because ever since we went to, oh, go ahead, Anel.
I was just going to say I've gotten 7 or 8 Gmail notices
Mhm,
that just in the last 2 to 3 days, that so people are getting their renewals,
mhm.
and most of them are jumping on.
Okay,
We've even had a couple of new people. So you might check. I'm going to go through this afternoon when we finish, and I haven't been to the PO box. So keep checking. They're coming in.
well, I mean, since you're the one that accepts the money, I'm looking at the expiration date. That's all I'm looking at. And you're right, like I received my expiration notice that it was coming up, so I went ahead and renewed. And so we do have quite a bit that are up for the renewal this month, because you know it's our end of the year. But we also have a lot of members that expired months ago, and I guess I'm gonna need help to try to reach out, because I know they probably received the email that I did, but still didn't renew. So I don't know what more we can do to get them to rejoin, but we need to try. If anybody else has any ideas,
Well,
I
it may just, if they're getting on the website at all, and it is close to your renewal date, that's what pops up on your screen when you first log in. And so that's, I don't know if any of you have seen that. And so that's a reminder. It also probably would be worth a phone call. If it's, a certain, 15 days, whatever, that kind of strategy, that kind of plan might be a good thing to do.
yeah, it's over 30 people. I mean, it's over, not even starting with the May. This is from last year. This is like Cornelia Gates, Alex Garcia. I mean, these are people that I can't believe that they let it expire, and it's already been more than 6 months. So I'm just relying on or I have been relying on the Club Express, but the membership has not done a campaign to try to get them to renew. So maybe Catherine and I don't know if we need to talk and strategize, or just make the calls, I guess. Just say, hey, it's that time of year. And I mean, it's already been over a year. I can't believe that we have so many. Nelda Martinez. I mean, wow. When I look at the names, I'm like, okay, these people should not have expired. And this is, like I said, from last year. It's not even this year.
Well,
So
I think at this point, I like your idea. I think your phone banking that you've been doing, I think that would work equally well on getting some of these lapsed members. That's my thought. I've seen Julie has her hand up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, I like the phone call idea. And before you took over membership, we had to make phone calls as well, and it was helpful. And so we have the annual meeting coming up. I know you have your committee, but also maybe some of the board members would take some names. I'll be glad to call people if you send me some.
Yes, that's exactly where I was going at, because these are members that we all know, and I think it makes a difference when it's a board member calling a member. It's one thing that it's, you know, a volunteer, but when it's a board member, it's different. So if you don't mind, I'd love to have some volunteers from the board and see who can reach out and make a few calls. As a matter of fact, Tim, one of them is Todd Hunter. His has expired. So, you know, just things like that. You know, we could like either I can share the list and then y'all can you know, I can do it just alphabetically, or if you want to take certain names, however we want to do it. But I would like, I'm reaching out to the board to ask to make these calls, please.
Yeah,
Just
we can
send me-
invite them to the annual meeting. So
Yeah.
that's a way to get them back in.
Yeah, just send me some names, Sylvia, and I'll be happy to do it. And the person, I think someone who's in Todd Hunter's district, who's a voting constituent of a board member should call Todd Hunter's office. Like, he's not mine anymore, it's Abel Herrera. So I think it'd be important that a voting constituents board members say, hey, but that's just my suggestion. But just send me some names and phone numbers and I'll be happy to help.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
It looks like Anel is saying I'm in. And
Okay.
Tim's in, and I'll take some.
Um,
Looks like Alice has her hand up. She's in too. Everybody's muted because of the sound, so I'm just translating.
So if you've got 30, you've already got 6 people. We only have to do 5 or 6 people call. And most of the time, let's face it, you get their machines, you just leave a voicemail, but at least you've reached out.
So Sylvia, I have a request for you. Would you please do a report on the memberships that we do have?
Oh, I am so sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, if you would, and would you send it to Chris, please? Because she always does a listing of our members in the workbook for our annual meeting. And so she is working on the workbook now. And so if you could run up that report and send those names to her so she can
Right.
put those in, that would be great.
I have it on my calendar. She has a deadline of 5/7, so I thought I'd wait to the last minute to send
Okay.
her that list so that we can get everybody in. But I do have it on my calendar. And do y'all need to hear today's update? I mean, all of you should have received it, but I can. Membership, the 2 memberships, we have 30 Friends of the League, we have 5, 67 individual, 1 lifetime, 32 students, and 11 sustaining, making 146 members.
And that's important for us to know because as you probably realize, we have to have, according to our bylaws, we have to have a minimum of 1/5 of the membership present.
Okay.
And so that's really important. And so with these numbers, voting members, the active voting members, we need basically around 30 people or so.
But we're going to shoot for more.
Right. Yes, of course.
Okay.
Okay. Alice, you have your hand up.
Yes, I wanted to ask, what is how are the lifetime memberships achieved? Is it a certain amount of money, or do you have to be a part of the league for X number of years? How is that? How do we come by becoming a lifetime member? That's my question.
I
Okay.
think it's 40 years.
I'm not really sure. I just know that Nan is the only one. So is it 40 years?
That I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, I don't
Alice. I'll have
either.
to look it up.
But that is a good question and I'll find out. Let's see if anybody's close.
Okay, and in doing so, is that 40 years set by our local organization, or is that coming from the state?
I believe that is state.
That, okay. All right, thanks.
What is the significance of the lifetime member? I forgot because I had asked one time because I'd prefer to just pay dues and be a lifetime member, but it wasn't, that wasn't what it was. I don't remember what it was then.
Well, you do stop paying, you know, the 40, after you reach that lifetime, whatever that number is, you no longer pay dues.
Okay.
But I think it only has to be, you can't pay your way in it. You have to be a member, you know, for X amount of years. Like you can't say, I'll pay $1,000 and you become a lifetime. That's sad that they don't have that option.
Yeah.
Sounds
That I
like
know
some
of.
of that needs to be revamped.
It
Yeah.
makes the renewals easier because
Ah.
you don't have to do it. But I think, you know, when you look at what the state or nationals want to do, maybe I'll have something like that. They got the sliding scale they want to do.
It's in our bylaws.
Uh-huh.
Article 3 membership, section 2. Those who have been members of the league for 50 years or more shall be life members excused from the payment of dues.
Okay.
I thought it was 40, 50. It's kind of hard for most people. I mean, you got to join at 20. But that would be a bylaw amendment, and we
Right.
need to check with the state and see if that's their requirement or what.
Yeah, because, Julie does bring up a good point. Maybe we've got some members that are willing to pay a certain amount of money to become lifetime members. So I can try to look into that if you want me to.
Well, look at it on many different sides because, if you're paying a certain fee, that means you never have to pay anything again. And so that's like if you're sustaining members at 100, you only have to pay what, 5 years and then you're done.
But if you were paying 65 for 50 years, it's 3,250.
Can I bring up one more thing? Going back to, I know we have pushed away raising the amount of dues, but while Sandy and I were talking recently, Sandy Sturba Boatwright, so we essentially make $6 per member, but that's not counting all of these people who are now paying by credit card and PayPal. We then lose another $2.98. So on those people, we're only making $3. So it might be something for the annual member or the meeting or something to bring up, possibly even if we just raise it to 65 or something. I know most people don't want to do it so that we can accommodate as many as possible and not lose members who can't, make the payment. But I think 65 is not that big a leap. Anyway, my 2 cents.
I think this is for the 2023, 2024 board to tackle.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, we can't really move on any of that either till the national and state finish with their restructuring of dues, can we?
Right. And that's
true.
As you're seeing in some of the documents that are coming down, we're just not really quite sure what that relationship is going to be like in terms of this join a league anywhere thing. That seems to be the direction that they're going with this. Anyway, but thank you, Sylvia. Appreciate the work that you're doing. And if you could get a list of, as I said, a list of our members to Chris, so she can put that in the workbook for the annual meeting, that would be fantastic. And she would appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, Alice,
Yes.
do you have anything to report for DEI?
No, I don't have anything to report.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to move on very quickly to our league business, and the first
Okay,
thing on
hang,
We missed
Catherine,
Sally.
you skipped Debbie Noble. Was that intentional? Because is she not here anymore?
she's not here.
Okay,
She had
thank
to
you. I
leave.
just wanted to double check.
Sure.
Okay,
She had to leave.
thank you.
We also missed Sally's nominating report.
I think she's done with the nominating report. Everything's been,
It's done.
no?
It's done.
Okay. It was on here, so I just thought I'd bring it up.
No, she's not up yet. No, she's not on
That
the,
must be an old agenda.
you're
Yeah,
looking at an old agenda. She's not on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't add. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'll be
Thank
quiet.
you. Okay. Moving on, directors and officers liability insurance. And now,
I'm looking, I just realized I was looking at the annual meeting agenda. The directors and officers insurance, we have received a quote. And I have Sandy Sturba Boatwright, who's a former attorney. I sent it to Tim and he recommended Sandy as well. So she has it. She is looking over the quote just to see if there are any issues. And the quote on coverage was $662 for a year. And as soon as we get that back from, or, get any commentary from Sandy, the quote is good for 30 days and we're about 10 days into it. I sent it to Catherine and Alice. I think I sent it to you so you could see what was coming up. And that's about all I have to say.
Liz,
What was the quote amount? What was the dollar amount? Please?
Am I right, Catherine? $662?
I have to go back and look.
Say Nell, it was actually $200 more. There's a broker's fee, so it made it $862.
Oh, that was it. 862.
Okay.
That's for
When
$1
did you
million.
send that? Sorry.
That's right. Oh,
That was for $1 million coverage on 2 different things. Here, let me see if I can pull it up. I looked at it quickly, but if Sandy disagrees with me, we need to defer to her. I think it's much more up her alley than mine. But basically the coverage you're getting is for 2 types of things. Hold on here. It's a pretty long document. Bear with me just a second.
While he's looking for that, when I saw one iteration of that, did you send a second one?
I may have just sent you a copy of the application.
Yeah, that I didn't
Okay.
get the other
quote?
part.
Okay.
No.
I
And I
think
like it.
because I just wanted to send it. Do you want to look at it?
Yes,
I can send
would.
it to you. Okay.
Thank you. All right.
The coverage we've got is for $1 million. You have directors and officers liability, and that's $475. There's $187 $1 million coverage for employment practices liability. So I'd like to get Sandy's thought on that. We don't employ anybody, so I'm not sure we need that one.
And I put that in the application.
It's not a lot of money, but the one that I recommend we add, it has fiduciary liability for $100. And they don't really describe what this coverage is you're getting very well at all, really. They just give you say fiduciary liability. But I think what that is, if somebody ran off with the money, and I think you would want to have that coverage. I've just seen too many cases in my career where people embezzled money and they turn around, where'd the money go? I don't know. We thought X was handling it, and X was handling it all right, but not the one you thought. So for $100, I would say spend that money and find out if we need to spend the money on the employment practices.
There is an option for 500,000. And I
Sure.
had recommended that initially. And the answer that I got from the local office, Kramer Insurance, was that the preferred, and I guess this is from her carrier, is the $1 million. I can go back and ask them to quote us on the 500,000 as well. I'm not sure why they just went past me on that, but
And now, as I read it, I think they did. It says they've got a $500 figure and a $1 million figure for the directors and officers liability. It's
Mhm.
380 for 500,
okay.
475 for $1 million. I would say for that small amount of money, $95, I would to double the coverage. I think that's a good deal.
Okay.
The employment practices, it goes from 168 for 500, and for 19 more dollars, you can double the coverage. So if we need the employment practices, I would say that's $19 well spent. And then I think we definitely would want the fiduciary liability, and that's only 100. So those are my comments, but I would, much defer to whatever Sandy says about it. I think she knows this stuff way better than I do.
Okay, well, that puts us a little bit at a conundrum because, as you know, this is our last our board meeting before the end of this board year, and so this may not we may not be able to put this into effect until after May 31st.
Well, if we have the board's approval to go forward, if there's no issues found with the quote or the policy itself, I
I'm just
mean,
looking at,
we had voted previously to go ahead and do this, and so we've done the application, we've gotten the quote. So should we just go ahead and put it to a vote that if Sandy finds no issues?
I guess the point that I'm making, Annelle, is that if the president has to sign any documents and that this may or may not become into play to be enforced by June 1, then, one of the things we talked about is do I sign as president or whoever is elected, and we are assuming that it is going to be Alice, who will be our next president. And I know that you can come back in and change it, but is that going to be like, okay, this Thursday it goes into effect, but Friday we have to change?
Well,
Do you
hopefully
see what I'm saying?
yes, and I had already forewarned them that we were in the process of changing leadership, and her comments to me was that did not seem to be an issue. We simply send them a letter, and I can do it by email and just let them know. I mean, you signed off on the application. So it doesn't really appear to be much of an issue if it is, one person who signs off when we pay it. And then, because they do know that this is coming and they do know that it's coming like this month and June 1st. So, I mean, that's up. If you don't feel comfortable signing it, what we need to do then is if we wait until June, we'll need to get a new quote and just kind of go through the process again to
I
get
think what I
Alice to sign off on it.
I would really like to know what that, the process would be and how long it's going to take for that policy to become into effect. And so it that's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Is that, and I see some raised hands out there. Maybe some of you have more experience with that than I do, but that's, with such a short period of time between now and June 1, it seems like that's not a lot of time for this policy to be put in place and then to turn right around with maybe even a matter of days
This is
changing
Julie.
it.
Yeah.
Julie.
Well, I put my hand up first, so I'm just jumping in because
Yep.
there's there's another issue too. And I agree with Anel's analysis of it, that we voted that we were going to do it. And so it's in play. And there's, what I didn't realize is there's this time clock ticking on the proposal. But another issue that has not been brought up is we told Sandy that we would have the insurance. And that's why she agreed to take the treasurer's job. And so putting it off like until after, I think if I were
But
her,
she doesn't take office until June 1.
yeah, as many people have told me in my organizing life, appearance, perception matters. I just don't want her to think that we're putting it off, because that it seems to, and I know we're not, but there is that part of it that concerns me. And there's the time clock ticking that we have, from my understanding, which was my question. Now we have like 20 days is what you're saying, Anel, to accept it or not, and it's under review. And if everything was okay through Tim and other people and Sandy, people who are used to these type of policies, if it seems fine to them, why wouldn't the reason we wouldn't go ahead and get it is because of the changes of officers, is what we're saying?
That's my question.
Oh,
That's my question.
I don't,
we're insuring the entity regardless of who the officers are.
yeah.
Okay.
So-
Okay.
so,
That answers that part of the question. That
Okay.
it's about the entity. Sally, you have your hand.
Of course, the binder that they send you once you commit and you send them your check, they'll send you a binder that will recite when that insurance becomes effective. And if there's any question with regard to authorization, and that's what Catherine is concerned about, is a showing of authority, all the next board meeting has to do is simply say, we vote a ratification, and that's the end of it from a legal standpoint. I think that I think that the board, I'm not a member of your board, but I think you'd be making a big mistake if you don't go forward with this, provided that it meets legal muster under Sandy's review. You've got all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, and there's no legal reason not to go forward with it.
Okay, that's the kind of reassurance and understanding that I needed to hear about. And so I appreciate Julie, Tim, Sally, I appreciate your input. And then I want to bring Alice into this conversation because we know that she's going to be next. And your thoughts on this? I'm reassured. I feel better with this explanation. What are your thoughts, Alice?
Well, in view of what Sally and Tim have added to the conversation, I feel really confident in what they say. I trust their interpretation of all of this. And I think it should be a fairly simple chore to change the names of those that are insured or whoever's leading the group. I don't have a problem with going forth and authorizing this and voting on this based on what has been reported back to us by Tim and by Sally. And also, we know that there was a challenge to get Sandy to take on that treasurer's job anyway. And so if she was given our word that we would go ahead and insure. And if there are no complications, I don't have a problem with it. I really
Okay.
don't.
Okay. I appreciate, Tim, yes.
The only thing I would add is I think we need to give the insurance agent some guidance on one item here. They've got an offer of optional coverages. And the one I'd recommend is we go with this fiduciary liability for $100. So I would say Nell ought to go back to the insurance agent, assuming Sandy doesn't find any problems with this quote, saying we like what you gave us and we do want to exercise our option to spend $100 to get the fiduciary coverage. I think that's one of the really valuable things to have with this sort of coverage. So I would say let's spend $962 instead of $862. So I guess we need a motion. I'm moving. We accept the quote subject to Sandy's review, but make sure the quote includes fiduciary coverage for a total cost of $962.
Where are you seeing that? Tim, I'm looking through it here.
It's on page.
Offer of optional
It's
fiduciary. I see it. I see it. Okay, I will call her and make sure that that's covered or included.
I'll second that, Tim.
Wait. Are we making a motion for Catherine and Anel to sign off on this insurance? Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay, so,
And
yes,
we're adding
The $100,
the $100 for
the
uh,
fiduciary.
fiduciary liability.
an extra $100 to the bill? The 800,
Yes,
okay,
So it's
okay.
now not a 962.
What was it? What was the $100 for again? I'm sorry. For the additional $100 for what?
fiduciary liability.
Oh, that's for the treasurer.
No, it's the
That's
whole
for the
board.
No.
league. Yeah.
Oh,
That's anybody that has access to funds and can
Funds.
actually access them and maybe at some point get away with them.
okay. So
We
that
have a
would be,
lot.
okay, wait a minute now. So that would be for the total, then the total bill would be $962.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question about that total bill real quick. It is possible that the employment practices liability we might not need it, correct? 'Cause
maybe.
we have no employers. We're gonna find that out too.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
see what Sandy says. I'm not seeing it, but she did a
Yeah.
lot of insurance work, whereas I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it might be volunteers, so it might not, the point being the final 962. It's approximately 962, right?
I'll put that in. I'll put it for the,
Won't be any more than that. It would only be less.
Good point.
Yeah, I assured them we had no assets, no employees.
yeah,
But we did have a fair number of volunteers who did act on our behalf, and maybe that's what that's referencing, but I will check with Kate.
okay, so how are we making this motion to accept the insurance, to pay the, someone give me a.
The liability insurance. We're
I
accepting.
know, but is that the total for is that what we're calling is the liability insurance? Okay,
It's directors and officers
yeah, I got that.
liability for,
Officers- Officers liability insurance. And we, okay, so what is the motion then that we accept the quote and pay for it?
No,
That we accept the quote subject to Sandy Boatwright's review and approval of the quote.
Okay, so how do I put that in, that we accept the quote?
So saying we're gonna do, I would say we're gonna do the deal for $962 to include the director's fiduciary coverage in addition to the other coverage, unless Sandy comes back and says there's something wrong with this.
Yeah,
Boy,
but
How about we do something like this, the directors and officers liability insurance, that we accept the quote as written unless, should I put it unless
Subject-
Sandy
subject
finds
to-
a problem?
Subject to her
Subject to-
review.
Yeah, right.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, what?
subject
Subject
to,
to Sandy's review.
For 962, so you include the fiduciary coverage.
That's Sandy Boatwright.
mhm.
Sturba Boatwright.
Okay, all right, so, all right. I'm gonna send this out. I'm gonna kind of play with the words a little bit and just to get it flowing. And then I'll send it to y'all if you want to, I don't know what to do. I have right now the directors and officers liability insurance. We accept the quote as written as per Sandy Boatwright's review.
Yeah.
Why
So
not, rather than saying we accept the quote as written, why don't you just say that we accept the quote, comma, subject to Sandy Boatwright's review? Because she may change something or request to change in the way that it is written.
And I'm going to call regarding that employment practices liability limit option.
Okay. All right, so, okay, so
That's
who made,
succinct. That's succinct. I think that's good.
Tim made the motion.
okay,
Sylvia
thank you.
seconded.
And I second it.
Okay,
I knew what Tim was trying to say.
thank you, Sylvia.
I'm gonna send this out, the piece, to a few of y'all, just kind of tighten it up a little bit, because I'm still not getting it and all. Okay, so I guess we need a vote.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we,
It's not easy.
No.
it's not easy, so that we accept the quote depending on Sandy Sturba Boatwright's review of the policy
For 960.
from 900, thank you, 600, 960, 662 to 962.
Okay,
Aye.
All those in favor? Wave
Aye.
right to leave.
aye,
Okay.
Aye.
okay,
We are moving right along, and I'm not going to do, I just want to briefly, there's come out, Alice, and you will be particularly interested in this, and I will share it with you. LWV US is really working to put out more information about DEI. And so this was a flyer that they sent out, and it's like a checklist of what to ask when examining your work through a DEI lens. And so I think this was, you might want to, I wanted to bring it to your attention because at your board retreat, this is something that you might want to use and in that group, and however it might feel into what you're planning for the next league year is. So that's an FYI piece of information. The next thing, very, very quickly, we're going to the annual meeting planning. And I think I did send you the tentative copy of the meeting agenda. And that is set for Thursday, May the 18th from 5:30 to 7. It's really going to probably be 5:30 to 7:30, knowing us. The rent's the same no matter what. And it's in person, and it's going to be at the YWCA Corpus Christi. It's 4601 Corona Avenue Drive. We're looking at making it virtual because they have the electronics in order to be able to do that. But we do have to have at least 30 members to establish a quorum for that meeting. And so hopefully, if they can't make it to the YWCA, they can do so during the meeting by raising their hands with the Zoom. The agenda is pretty standard. We have to adopt the rules for the annual meeting. We have to approve the minutes of the last year's 77th annual meeting. We have to do the presentation of the financial report of where we are, which is Anel. Then there's discussion and adoption of the proposed budget, which will be Sandy Sturba Boatwright, who is the budget committee chair. The next one is one that I really wanted to talk to you about again. And this one was proposed hosting of the April 2024 LWV Texas Biennial Convention. I've done some more research on this. We have really passed the deadline for doing this. They say the minimum amount of time going back, from the date of the convention back is 18 months. And we're not even close to that. And so I looking ahead for the 2026, I think is something that you might want to consider. That gives you more time. It would give you more time. And this is also another topic that I feel like would be good for your board retreat. Starting out with fresh eyes, hopefully getting people involved and seeing how you plan out your year for next year. But again, I'm not going to put it on this agenda simply because we can't possibly do that in that short amount of time. The proposed program is next with Julie doing the presentation, the discussion and adoption of the proposed program. Also, there will be a report from Eli for voter services and also one from you, Sylvia, on member services. Sally, we'll be asking you to do the report for the nominating committee. And then there's the election of officers. And then installation of officers follows that. And we have the privilege of Judge Ina Klein, who has said yes to doing the installation of officers and directors. I'm really excited about this. I spoke with Alice, spoke with Julie, and we had several names. Judge Klein really stood out. Some of the people that we thought about, they weren't available, but we wanted to extend this to Judge Klein. She is a member. If you're not aware of that, she is an active member. And so it's just very fitting. We felt like for her to do the installation of officers. Then you get to hear me talk for the last time, outgoing remarks, and then you have incoming remarks from our new president, which we are all already saying it's going to be Alice Upshaw Hawkins, and that's going to be a momentous occasion for our league. And so with that, does anyone else have questions for me? Liz?
Yes, we had talked about, or anyway, what about food and drinks? How do you want to do that? I am more than happy if you just give me what you want. Like we want so many trays of sandwiches or so many trays of chips and dips or so many of that I'll be happy I will contribute and go over and order them, pick them up from HEB and bring them. If somebody else, and I can also do the water, I just need the types and how much you need, and I will just underwrite it. That's my good deed for the year.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I am saying, I think we should shoot for what our quorum, our quorum is 1/5. So I would say 30 to 40 people, 30 probably.
I don't think it would hurt to plan for 40 to 50. We may have new officers who are coming in, may bring a family member. I know I always brought John to my swear-in, and the people, the outgoing, the incoming, and just the people who attend may bring a guest, a spouse or something.
Okay.
my suggestion would be to count on 50.
Okay, well, you'll just need to give me what you're looking for. Do we want to do just, like relish trays, like with, fruit and vegetables with dip, or we want to do little sandwiches, do little rolls? I mean, it just depends on what y'all want. Now, if you're gonna go roast beef and filet mignon, I'm gonna go, I'm not underwriting that.
No.
So,
Okay.
but it doesn't bother me to go, and HEB is a good one to do with trays and things like that and all, and it's easy to get a head count with them. So I guess that's something y'all can just send me, and then I can talk to HEB in the coming days and get it all set up. And I guess,
I'm going to say, Liz, that just finger foods, because this
I'm
is not
sorry,
meant to
what?
be, this is finger food. It's not meant to be a meal. And we are going to be responsible for cleaning up afterwards.
So we're gonna need plates, and can someone else do the plates and napkins and utensils?
Julie, do you still have your stock?
I have some, but not a lot. I could check.
Okay.
And I
Sylvia?
can let y'all know.
Okay. Sylvia's got her
Hi.
hand up.
Yeah, I can help. I mean, so go ahead and plan then for the paper plates, napkins, and the forks and stuff.
Yeah,
Bottled water, or maybe,
Wait, what
And-
else?
we need bottles of water. Didn't you say, Catherine, you want to do bottles of water?
Mhm. That's
If someone-
easiest, simplest.
Yeah, okay, all righty. And what about, are we gonna do anything with covering tables, tablecloths, anything like that? Are they providing the tables?
They're providing the tables and chairs.
Okay. Are we gonna put a
Alice, you
tablecloth?
have your hand up.
Okay, well, Tim had his up first. I don't know if it was still up from the
No,
last.
sorry, I should have taken it down.
Okay. Yeah, well, I had, my niece is a very good cook, and she's gone to Del Mar's School of Culinary Arts. And so I had asked her if she would prepare some wings so that I could bring them. And she asked me how many, and I told her 40. So this would either be the drumette or the other section as a total of 40. So, and I also told her to do barbecue and lemon pepper, unless that's something somebody else wants. But I was, because y'all, we have been announcing bring a snack, and I didn't know if it had been truly organized or everybody was just going to bring something. But to Liz, to your whatever you want to donate, I'm going to be bringing some wings as a snack, which is a finger food, kind of a messy finger food, but I think we'll have a lot of finger lickers at that.
How about I do this? I'll go by HEB before Monday of next week, and I'll tell them what we want, and I'll do a couple of different options, and then I'll send it to y'all, and we'll just do a quick count and all that. Yes, we want this. No, we don't want that. And you just give me a quick count with, when I mean count, a vote. Yes, we only want the little sandwich trays. We don't want the vegetable trays. We only want vegetable and fruit trays, not the others. So does that make sense?
and I'm happy to contribute to the cost as well. I could bring cookies, something.
That would be lovely. I think that would be nice. And if I can just take the sandwiches, the finger foods and all, let me talk to HEB and see what they can come up with for 40 to 50 people. And I think if y'all want to do desserts and the wings and all would be great. And Sylvia's taking care of the paper goods. And if somebody do the
And the
bottles
water.
of water, can we get somebody to do Catherine, will you be able to do that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So Catherine, you're gonna go ahead and do the water then?
I'll do water.
Okay,
Yeah.
If you'll do utensils.
I will.
Utensils, utensils,
I think-
paper plates and napkins.
Napkins.
Definitely need
I
got it.
napkins.
I
With
really
fi-
think.
Go ahead.
I really think we should have some kind of a table covering.
You know what, at the Party City, they sell those rolls, I can buy, the plastic roll, you just
Mhm.
cut it. You want me to go ahead and get that?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind going ahead and do that.
I'll see
And
if they have purple, but if not, I'll get whatever color is.
we just need to remember to bring a pair of scissors with us to cut.
Okay,
Just make it nonpartisan.
okay.
Purple is
I-
good.
Green.
I mean, red,
Are
white,
our
and
colors-
blue, I don't know.
Aren't
Okay,
our
Catherine.
colors purple and gold?
Mhm.
Is that
Either
the
that
official
or-
color for our group?
Or
Well,
red,
or the
white, and
league.
blue.
It's
Okay.
either that or
Yeah.
red, white, or blue.
Red, white, and blue stripes or stars, or just
I
plain
personally
old.
like the purple and gold, but that's
Yeah, I
just
do,
me.
but they may be harder to find.
Yeah, I don't know if
Right.
they'll have the roll, but I'll check for
Yeah.
purple.
Yeah,
Yes, red,
And
white, and blue.
okay.
And
I
if,
know, that's
if
so
nothing
true,
else,
isn't
white,
it?
I'm sorry, but if nothing else, white. We just need
Okay.
something to cover the tables.
True,
Okay,
true.
all right. Are we
Okay.
good?
Have we
We're
got it?
good.
Have we got it?
Sally,
Got a-
Sally
I'll
has
send
a
out a
hand
quick
up.
list.
Just
Go ahead, Sally. I'm sorry.
quick question. Just want to confirm that I plan to be there in person, but just in case something should happen, are you going to be able to count your virtual participants as part of your needed forum? Are you going to only count in-person participants or attendees for the forum?
Well, in looking back at our bylaws, I was afraid that we wouldn't be able to do that,
Okay,
but it's not the case. If we're doing it virtually, then they can participate.
we changed
because
that a
it's-
couple of years ago. We changed that because I was on that policy bylaws things and we changed it. So we're fit in with Zoom now. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Thank
that's a
you.
good question to ask Sally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
we want everybody to be there
Yeah.
and making it as simple as possible for them to do
Right.
that. And that's
Right.
the key, to
Oh.
get as much participation as we can.
One quick question, what time should we all be there? If the meeting starts at 5, do you want us there or 5:30? Do you want us there half an hour early, 45
No,
minutes
we
early?
get to the space at 5:30. That's when we get the space.
So we can't even walk in earlier?
Probably not, but I don't know.
Okay, okay,
It's 5:30 to 7:30. And so if people are coming in and, we don't start until 6, us, we can say we're going to, everybody's, 5:30, everybody get there. They're not, then, it's going to be 6 and we're still visiting and, so yeah, we have the space from 5:30 to 7:30.
okay.
And I said, in the invitation that it's till 7, but that's not going to happen. So, which is
Are they-
okay.
Are they supplying garbage bags for us when we clean up or do we need to bring our own?
I'll have to ask that question. I don't know.
Okay.
What about cleaning supplies?
I've got that on my list. I used to,
Okay.
when I was a volunteer for the kids' school and I would do all these different parties for them, I had a big basket that I carried everything in. So I'll bring the cleansers, the paper towels, I'll bring scissors. We need Scotch tape to hold down the tablecloths maybe, garbage bags. What else? I'll think. I'll talk to my daughter.
Okay. Tim, is your hand up?
Yeah, a little bit off topic, but really important, especially to Sylvia. I hope she didn't go away.
I think
I
she
was just
did.
checking the legislature online, and they did have a vote today on that bill to restrict cities' ability to act. The Senate Business and Commerce Committee had a vote, but very frustratingly, I can't see how the vote came out. They had a vote, but it doesn't say if they upped it or downed it. So I suspect that's just an issue the clerk hasn't gotten around to doing yet. I'd be shocked if it's not an approval of it, given the way things are going. So anyway.
Okay. Thank you,
that's-
Tim.
That's one of the most dangerous bills this legislature's got.
All right. Thank you for that, Tim. Anel, your hand is up.
I did. So by sharing this meeting, it really needs to be via Zoom. Am I correct in that? So that the members have the ability to vote.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do we have, are you and Walt providing the, like, do we need a microphone or any of that type of thing?
I believe that they have one there at the Y.
Okay.
And so I am still trying to get information. There, for some reason, I don't know, it doesn't seem like full staff is there all the time,
Okay.
at
And
least. And so the person that who does the arrangements for the facilities has been out of town several times. And so, when I took the checks by yesterday, she was not there. And
that's
so,
what I ran into. But I'm kind of on the topic, but kind of off. I can set up the Zoom meeting, but the last time we tried to do that membership meeting, my laptop does not cooperate with getting online. So can you bring yours possibly? And
oh,
I
absolutely.
know
We can,
you and Walt have, done that before.
yeah.
Okay.
But
So, yeah, definitely.
isn't that a function of just tapping into the Wi-Fi?
That's been my problem. If I take my Wi-Fi away from the house, the guy from the library, the La Watama library,
Mhm.
it got me going. But then the next time I tried it, he wasn't there and I had never got it to go. Fortunately, behind me, I didn't see Brittany was doing it, but she was doing it on Instagram or Facebook or something. Um,
So, yeah.
I had one more.
I think
Okay.
it's just
That's it. Oh, somebody, maybe this is a Catherine thing, but we really need to make sure that since some of our incoming people are young, Brittany and Eli and Alex, we really need to make sure that they understand that they need to be at the meeting to be sworn in. And if they absolutely can't, it's not a thing, but they really need to be encouraged to be there.
Okay. Good point.
and if for whatever reason somebody just absolutely can't make it, then they can be sworn in at a meeting, at a general meeting.
I would think so.
Yes.
I don't know that we have a provision for that, but I would think so.
Okay. I know in other organizations, if they are not able to attend the official swearing in, that at some point in time they do have to be sworn in order to function in that position.
Correct.
Okay.
Good question, Alice.
Okay.
All right. Any other business that we need to take care of? If not, it has been a whirlwind of activity for the last 2 years. And I thank all of you for the work that you've done. It's been outstanding. You think about where we were 2 years ago and where we are now, and it's been an amazing journey. And I thank you, thank you for being allowed to come along on this journey. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Mine
I
too.
like-
4
Thank you
years
for your
and I've
leadership, Catherine.
appreciated every single one of you and especially Catherine for being my second brain.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Catherine, for your leadership and the patience that you have had with us and getting things done. I think it is, I feel like you were a very good listener And that is so important in a leadership position, is to be willing and able to listen. And so I thank you for that, and thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you
Amen.
very much,
Amen.
all of you. Well, I will see you then again on May the 18th,
All right.
either on Zoom or at the Y. Thank you so much.
Right.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
everybody. Have a
Thank
great
you.
evening.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you.
Great
Annelle.
evening.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Julie, don't forget to let me know when's a good time for me to come over before next Saturday and help you get set up.
I don't think she can hear you,
Ah,
or she's
oh.
muted.
I'm stopping the recording.